Hey guys, how are you? Crypto Sniper Francis. Quick update. So yes, the bias to Bitcoin has served us well, and a new high taken. The 6,000 mark was run over here. It's likely to pull back below, which in fact it's already doing. But it's footing with what is a key level. This whole setup, this failure here in and around the 5,880s, just short of the 5,900s, is all typical classic price behavior, where you top out, you size up, you start knocking on the door, getting close, then a little bit of pre-exhaustion. We actually had a downside selling leg. Managed to sit that out. I wasn't too concerned. We were short Ethereum with it as well, and we were making the Ethereum was selling off harder, so gave us some confidence. We had a really good bounce, so we called it continuation at this point. Once we had taken the 78.6 level, but I was expecting we could have had a slightly deeper pullback here, and then a secondary loop. So this came early for me, this pump. So I mean, we don't know everything. We certainly don't. We don't pretend to either. But a very nice tight funneling. I thought we would top out a little bit and have a pullback, and I was getting ready to sit through another little bit of a dip to around these levels, and then a third impulse, but it actually squeezed real tight. So this is an ascending formation. It's really steep. You'll learn what I mean by that, and grind lines, and etc. We had a working target from previous price behavior. This is a 15-minute time frame that we're on. That was in the 6,300s to 6,400 zone. How we did that, you can also just get in touch if you want to learn more about HVF method. But the long and short of it is, this is now a more refined as we get closer target, and you always have more conservative ones on the bigger time frames, and as you get closer to them, if there is any more to be had, you get a slight you get another setup with a bit of a boost, and this represents a boost. We're looking at 64.58s, 64.60s. Chance for a proper pullback though now, because you've been quite impulsive there. You've broken a number of levels, so it's possible for the previous highs where you were tapping out and exhausting to be just run again. So those that are fearing missing out, now wouldn't be the time to chase. If you're desperate to get in and you're not an HVF trader, you could jump in on the revisit of these previous resistance levels in and around the 5,830s. So that's pretty much our take. A bit of a revisit down here, and then we'll look at it to the upside. But that's where we're seeing targets now, 6,460. And then the Ethereum, it just keeps creating new little inverted setups and making them and overperforming. Bit of a relief rally here, and you can expect that, having just run a target and overperformed. That's a super sell-off, and it is now a rinsing. So you expect it to pull back into these areas on the same time frame. But you know, our setup, we were short this long time ago now, and if we have a look at the bigger time frame and where this whole setup began. You're talking about something that happened quite some time ago now. I was actually late to put the trade on in the end because I was traveling a bit, but we are in there eventually, and that one is part of previous YouTubes that I've done the draw for, and that would have been your high 3 and that would have been your entry. So had you been on time and not late, you would have been short from roughly the 666s. There you go, the devil's number for you over there. But we chased it a little bit. We had a rising wedge, and so we were prepared to get short. But it's still rewarding. There's a bit of a bump, and at some point it will recover, but I do see a 4.8 target. Look at the previous clips at minimum, so you'll rally a bit, but I think there'll be another part to the sell-off, and that'll coincide with the Bitcoin strength. So these things are related, so we'll have a bit of a pullback here. We could come some way back, but when we bounce and we make a new high as part of making this, and this is a probability, this can fail, by the way, just like anything else can fail. We're trying to play the probabilities, not the guarantees. There are no such things. You would run the funnel here would prove that this setup is no longer performing. So a break of the 5,638 will invalidate this potential target. So there's no contract. Bitcoin doesn't have to do that. But you know, the bias and the technicals have continued to show us that you want to be 100% Bitcoin and staying out of the alts. And if you want to actually accumulate Bitcoin and you can find an inverted against a liquid major alt, in other words, you can get in and out without slippage, aka Ethereum, Ripple, those in the top 5. as we've done, we've been able to accumulate some Bitcoin with this string. So it has been quite singularly Bitcoin strong. There are the odd one or two alts that are popping here and there, but generally the broad category is down versus Bitcoin. So that is the trade to accumulate Bitcoin, and I've covered this in other vids, so I don't want to recap. So that's the take. Just raising a glass to another 6,000 level. It's a great achievement, and I would expect a pullback. We've always reacted. Go have a look at your 3,000 level. Go have a look at your 4,000 level. Go have a look at all the big major numbers, what typically happened. And I've done previous YouTube clips on that. Here, for example, there's your 2.9, resting, and then the break runs all the way up, gets up to 4.9. What does it do? Pulls all the way back here, winds up again. Look at this, rising. We then smash, eventually resting again at the 4.9 pullback, eventually smashing the 5s. Then up to 5.8, approaching the 6. What do? We smash down, back down to 5.1. What does that actually generate? The 5.9 down to 5.1 is an 800 amplitude put on top there. That's what takes you up to your 6.4. But this is typical price behavior. You start approaching the key levels of significance, and you start getting a bit of a rest just before they run, and then you wind up for a while and you sell off for a while, just like we sold off here. And just like you sold off here, it's a microcosm. This is a microcosm of that setup. This was a really big setup which had a head and shoulders and an inverted HVF, which allowed us to get a very lucky 2,990. But anyway, the previous battles won and lost. No need to recount all those. But that's it. So that's Bitcoin. That's how the price behavior rolls, chaps. But it's been broadly strong on the relative charts. This is the value of 360-degree analysis, looking at Bitcoin against a number of the other key majors. It's key just to have been net long the Bitcoin and short any of the large major alters, so that you can pick up a little bit of extra coin on the way, and that's served us very well. Anyway, that's your update. Cheers to Bitcoin for 6,000. Expect a pullback. Expect it. It's okay. It'll happen. And those of you that have missed out can potentially even get in on the train a little bit lower down. But I don't believe it's necessarily over. We keep on assuming success until such time as it fails. Even that huge pullback did not run the funnel of this setup that was there to wind it up. So all it means is it's a bit of a rest before it makes a higher high, which it ended up doing. So this has kept us biased long. Anyway, enough of that. Enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. And hopefully you've got a bit of Bitcoin, and hopefully you can keep making further Bitcoin. But remember, this is not a recommendation. This is just my trade experience, etc., etc. T's and C's. Go to the website to find out more about the HVF methodology. Speak to you all soon. Enjoy.